Request for the President 23rd, 2024.
Now, you're watching News Channel 2 at sunrise with Gary Liberatore.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Gary Liberatore, and today it is not too bad out this morning. What does the rest of the day fare? Meteorologist Eric Gage joining us now from the Weather Center. And Eric, we're not in too bad of a stretch right now. It just seems like it's going to get warmer and warmer.
Yeah, that's right. We're entering a warmer stretch as we head to the next few days. But first, we got to get through some snow today and potentially wintry mix by early tomorrow morning. And it's looking a little damp out there. It was a little misty, possibly driving into work. We got some light lake effect drizzle taking place right now. You can't really sense it on the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, but turning up the sensitivity and zooming in, we can see very, very fine particles here picked up on the radar. You can see some of it passing through parts of Rome and, of course, in northwestern Oneida County. So some of our sky watchers up north are reporting very fine snow with this. So this is producing almost a sleety type snow and then drizzle in warmer, lower elevations. And a live look at downtown Utica. Again, wet roads, but the roads are fine this morning. We are still above freezing. And that will be a limiting factor in how much snowfall we'll see today. If temperatures remain at 32, 33 degrees at Griffith and Rome, the snow will take a little bit to eventually accumulate. We do have winter weather advisories in effect for pretty much all of central New York. And this is with the potential for some slippery spots, primarily due to that wintry mix tomorrow morning, but also due to the possibility of some wet, slick snow this evening. As this system continues to push in from the southwest. And for today, again, after this morning drizzle, things dry out briefly. Some snow showers begin to develop from the south, work their way north throughout the afternoon. A lull in the snow showers briefly this evening before they pick up again tonight. And again, we're talking about the timing, impacts, and all that and more coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Eric, thanks. The first voters have spoken.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Good morning and welcome back. For those of you who watched News Channel 2 at noon yesterday, and of course the Live at 5 News Hour, you'll know why we have the camera behind us. For those of you who are wondering why we have Utqiagvik, Alaska on the camera right here, a live view of that, it's because this is an early sign of spring. The northernmost town in the entire United States is actually looking out toward the Arctic Ocean, a live view from the sea ice camera. It will see its first sunrise of the year. It's been dark since November, and it will finally see the sun only for a short while before the sun sets. But, of course, it's showing the warmer times, and, of course, the earlier and earlier sunrises we'll see eventually here in central New York. Now here locally on the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, all is quiet here for now, but we're tracking again that wintry system arriving from the southwest, starting out as, in my opinion, rain showers in the Mohawk Valley. Those temperatures still are above freezing, eventually switching over to sleety, wet snow by this afternoon as snowfall rates continue to increase. But we're not expecting a whole lot in terms of accumulation, but there will be at least enough to cause some slick spots on less traveled roads. And you can see here a live look of downtown Utica from our Nexus camera. It's currently 31 degrees, but you notice the roads are still wet. It's misting out there with a light drizzle from lake effect, but that looks to be the only travel impact for today. There is some light snow taking place in portions of the North Country. And so for your morning commute, mostly cloudy, some patchy drizzle. Evening commute could be seeing some slick spots, especially on those less traveled roads. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Israeli forces advancing deeper.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning and welcome back. A not too common temperature we're seeing this morning, at least compared to the past week or so. We are right around freezing, the first time we've been there since the 13th of this month. Taking a live look at downtown Utica, because of those right around freezing temperatures, the roads are a little damp for some light drizzle, which is not freezing right now. In fact, those temperatures will continue to remain in the low 30s for most of this morning and early this afternoon before snow showers will cool things down a little bit as you approach the afternoon and the evening. A live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. Here and locally, things are quiet. Again, we're tracking that patchy drizzle. You can see a few marks of it pushing through portions of the radar right now. But I want to actually move the radar a little bit so we can see just where the system is currently located at. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit right here. And we can see the leading edge of this is actually falling as sleet in portions right along the Pennsylvania New York border. But again, as it approaches our area, it will turn to more sleety type snow and primarily rain in the Mohawk Valley initially before it switches over. And a look at current conditions right now, it is 31 degrees, feels like 24 with that decent westerly wind. And for today, those temperatures on paper will remain in the low 30s before again cooling down as snow chances continue to increase. And in fact, looking at those snowfall chances, we can see it start to increase as we approach the afternoon and evening hours. So the bigger picture, we've got this short wave arriving from the southwest. It pushes into this colder air near central New York. You can see it fall as sleety, wet, clumpy snow in a lot of areas that could cause some slick spots this evening for the possible evening commute. Then a lull in the snow briefly could be enough to keep roads a little bit clear by 7 p.m. before a second round of snow showers push through overnight. Then, as that mixing line moves over central New York, it'll start to fall as sleet and eventually freezing rain by early Wednesday morning before that eventually turns over to all rain by Wednesday evening. And so more closely on our Skycast, you can see the initial round of snow falling, primarily in the southern valleys first, rain switching over to snow here in the Mohawk Valley, then another round of snow, and you can see that mixing line right here. You can see purple is indicating sleet, pink indicating freezing rain, and again, that could cause some slick spots, primarily on bridges. Bridges will freeze over first as the freezing situation on those is a little bit sooner. Regarding snowfall, we're seeing trace 2 inches over a lot of the area. This won't accumulate too much. Ice mixing in some locations as well, and 1 to 3 inches in the higher elevations north, maybe 4 in the absolute hilltops. Again, with that westerly wind, we're thinking maybe some locations here could see upwards of 4 inches. But again, not a huge snowmaker with this event, but it's enough to cause some slick spots and tricky travel. And so for today, a high of 32 degrees, snow showers. Tonight, a low of 29 with snow and a wintry mix. And your 7-day forecast, we're continuing to remain in a January thaw. 40 for the high on Wednesday, 46 for the high Thursday. Still rain chances all those days. It's not warm and dry. It's going to be warm and unsettled. Heading into the weekend, things are quieting down a little bit and still looking a bit on the warmer side with temperatures in the upper 30s, low 40s.
So quite a different week from last week.
Oh, huge week difference in last week.
That's for sure. Eric, thanks. The time right now is 5/23, 23rd, 2024.
Now, you're watching News Channel 2 at sunrise with Gary Liberator.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Liberator. We definitely are looking forward to some more sun today after yesterday, but will we get it? Meteorologist Eric Gage joining us now from the Weather Center, and I think the answer is no, right?
Sorry, there's a wasp flying right there, and it just flew close to my face, and so I got a little bit scared.
Be careful.
Yeah, so if you hear a giant swat in the background, oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. I'll try to get to the weather while we're talking about it. Yes, we're going to talk about more clouds today, eventually some snow showers this afternoon. But in some locations this morning, we're dealing with some patchy drizzle from some lake effect. In fact, taking a look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 at live radar, can't see too much here right now. However, as we zoom in and turn up the sensitivity, we can see very faint signatures of lake effect drizzle you can see coming off of Lake Ontario right now. In some higher elevations, it's falling as a sleety type snow, very fine snow particles with that. But in downtown Utica, roads are wet, but there is no travel issues expected for your morning commute in the lower elevations. In fact, those temperatures are still hovering right around freezing, currently 31 degrees at Griffith and Rome. We do have winter weather advisories in effect for almost all of central New York. This is for this afternoon until Wednesday morning, as there could be some slick spots from wet, sleety snow this evening, and then additional slick spots from sleet and then freezing rain in locations early tomorrow morning. And so for today, I got a quiet start with some patchy drizzle, turning to some snow showers this afternoon and this evening. Again, we're talking about the impacts where you could be seeing the wet snow and eventually the freezing rain coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Eric, thanks. Staying on the story now of 2 homicides.
Good morning and welcome back. It is time to showcase our weather photo of the day this morning, and this one is a nice shot of Oneida Lake taken at Verona Beach, the icy shoreline. The lake has still remained relatively ice-free, but as you can see here, the shoreline is now turning a bit icy, and of course, a beautiful sunrise in the background. If you want to send us a weather photo, you can submit it to us at wktv.com/weather/pics. And of course, if you want, include your name in the comment to have credit in the top corner. A live look at current temperatures right now. We are remaining in the low 30s across a lot of the area. 31 Whitesboro, 33 Little Falls, 31 down in Cooperstown. A little colder, 26 up north in Inlet. And as we approach this evening and into tonight, we're talking about potential for wintry mix. So going over the wintry setup types, you can see right here what causes certain at least rain, snow, sleet, freezing rain to fall. And it all has to do with that warm air in the middle of that cold air. As you can see, rain is when snow melts eventually to all warm air near the surface. You have a small, thin layer of cold air near the surface that causes freezing rain. Larger cold air near the surface, and you get sleet. If it's all cold air, of course, you get snow. And we're having more of these types of precipitation heading into tomorrow. I'll explain exactly where and when coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Eric, thanks. Many local students are going to have the chance to see a...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back. We are tracking some light patchy drizzle this morning from lake effect. Nothing major. Roads a little damp in the downtown Utica area. In fact, taking a live look at downtown Utica, we can see the current conditions right now. A little misty out there, but again, not too bad. Roads are looking okay at this point. And taking a look at current conditions on the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar, all is quiet here locally, but our attention turns to the active weather approaching us from the southwest by this afternoon. And recapping what's going on this morning, you can see it very faintly, the drizzle taking place on our high sensitivity radar early this morning. Currently 31 at Griffith and Rome, feels like 24 with that westerly wind of 7 miles per hour. And for today, we're going to remain in the low 30s, hovering above and below freezing here and there. And as we enter a day, we are right around the freezing line. And of course, as low pressure arrives from the southwest, that brings a chance for a variety of winter weather precipitation types. And as we can see, heading into this afternoon, we'll be talking about at least a few of them. So, for this morning, again, looking quiet, some lingering drizzle in the area in some parts of the Mohawk Valley and north, flurries heading up into the Adirondack region. Then as you approach this afternoon, we're talking about sleety, wet snow that could cause some slick spots in some locations. Now, this is not going to be a steady snow. We're likely going to be seeing a lull in the snow showers by the early evening. We're thinking roughly 4 to 6 p.m. here and there. And then another round of snow showers push through. Then, as we head into the overnight hours into early Wednesday morning, see that mixing line move over central New York. That brings with it the chance for, you can see right here in the pink area, freezing rain before it eventually switches over to rain showers by tomorrow afternoon. And so more closely on our Skycast, snow showers start to develop. And there's a wasp flying above you right now. I'll make sure I don't get stung by that. It turns over to all snow, remains as snow for most of the evening. I'm thinking the initial round of precipitation will start out as rain in the Mohawk Valley as those temperatures are still right around freezing. Regardless, all snow by the overnight hours into early Wednesday morning, and then that mixing line pushes through. We're talking about a brief round of sleet, maybe lingering freezing rain heading into the mid-morning on Wednesday before it switches all over to rain showers by Wednesday afternoon. And so with that, the impact of this will be pretty much all throughout parts of central New York. Ice is very hard to forecast, but what we can tell you is just be prepared for it. Expect maybe some slick spots on bridges. Bridges freeze quicker than roads typically. And regarding snowfall, it's not a major event. Trace 2 inches of snowfall. It's going to be very hard for that snow to actually accumulate in a lot of spots. 1 to 3 inches north, maybe a little bit higher in the northwestern portion of Oneida County. But as you can see here, wintry mix expected tonight and into early Wednesday. And so for today, a high of 32 degrees, snow showers tonight. Snow wintry mix, low of 29 degrees. Your 7-day forecast. We're continuing the milder stretch of weather for the next several days. A January thaw, rain showers, and warmer temperatures Wednesday through Friday, drying out a little bit Saturday and Sunday.
May 3rd, 2024.
Now, you're watching News Channel 2 at sunrise with Gary Liberator.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Gary Liberator. Get ready for another not-so-bad day here in January. Meteorologist Eric Gage joining us now from the Weather Center. And Eric, after last week, anything this week seems better, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it was downright frigid over the weekend, and thankfully there was some good out of it. You know, all that snow that fell in the Tug region, the ski slopes, the snowmobilers got to enjoy all the snow that we've been lacking a lot here in central New York. But we're entering a more mild stretch by January standards, a January thaw entering this week. Before we get to that, though, we're talking about a potential for a wintry mix. Today, though, not so much a wintry mix, more so wet, sleety snow developing later on this afternoon. But taking a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, mostly quiet, but as you zoom in and turn up the sensitivity, we can see some faint signatures of some light lake effect drizzle taking place, primarily flurries in higher elevations, but as you can see, misty and wet conditions here in downtown Utica due to that drizzle. Currently 31 degrees at Griffith and Rome, the warmest we have seen temperatures, at least since the 13th of January. It's been such a cold stretch. But we do have winter weather advisories in effect for the areas all in purple, which is pretty much all of central New York here, for the potential for freezing rain, sleet, and of course wet snow. And that will be a factor not only for this afternoon, but also for tomorrow. And of course, I'll time out exactly when we see the freezing rain, when we see the sleet, and of course, when we see the snow coming up in just a minute. But again, today, temperatures climbing into the low 30s. Wet snow starts to fall this afternoon. Then that switches over to the potential for some sleet and freezing rain tonight. We'll, of course, explain everything in detail coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Eric, thanks. The first voters have...
Good morning and welcome back. For those of you who tuned in to News Channel 2 at noon yesterday, and of course with Bill Curtis on the Live at 5 News Hour, you'll know exactly what we're showing the camera at Utqiagvik, Iceland, or Iceland, I should say, Alaska right now. But for those of you who don't know, this is a view of the Arctic Ocean on the northernmost town in the entire United States. Used to be known as Barrow, and they changed it to a Inuit name very recently. Now, why we're showing you this is because starting today, the sun will rise for the first time after being completely below horizon since November. And that's just an indication that the springtime is approaching. But of course, we'll enjoy the next few months of winter before things change heading into March. Here locally, a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. Quiet here in central New York this morning. There is some lingering lake effect drizzle in some spots. Very hard to spot on the radar this morning, but it is there, and as you can see, the evidence is there here too. In downtown Utica from our Nexus camera, wet roads, misty conditions from that drizzle, currently 31 degrees. And for today, we'll remain in the low 30s as this eventually switches over to rain and then some wet, sleety snow. This could cause some slick spots in some locations, especially less traveled roads for this afternoon and this evening. So again, for the evening commute, slick spots possible, mostly cloudy and light drizzle this morning. We're not seeing any impacts for this time as well. There will be concern as we head into tonight and eventually into early tomorrow as this wet snow switches over to sleet and then freezing rain. That could cause some slick spots once more, especially on bridges, as those could freeze over sooner than roadways. Gary?
Eric, thank you. Israeli forces advancing deeper.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning and welcome back. Happy Tuesday. This morning, feeling a little bit warmer than what we've seen in the mornings past. Temperatures hovering in the low 30s, but we are seeing some patchy drizzle from lake effect. Let's take a live look at downtown Utica, the effects from lake effect. Say that a few times. Downtown Utica, you can see wet roads, misty conditions, currently 31 degrees at Griffith Rome, 23 with that 8-mile-per-hour wind, cooling things down a little bit. A live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. Pretty much looking entirely quiet. However, turning up the sensitivity and zooming in, we can see that faint signature of drizzle taking place up near Florence and portions of the Mohawk Valley early this morning. But zooming out, here is the system we've been tracking for the past few days. We've got a sleet line mixing in. This is a lot of purple. This is more purple than I've seen in the past few months or so. And this is indicating sleet. As it pushes north, it'll turn to snow in the southern valleys. But this snow will be wet and sleety in nature. It's going to be that very either fine consistency or that clumpy wet snow as those temperatures hover right around 32 degrees. That's when we see that wet, clumpy snow falling in central New York. And timing it out, we can see that start to develop here to the southwest. It pushes north, cools things down, switches over to snow this afternoon with the higher snowfall rates generally south of the Mohawk Valley. We'll get a bit of a break with a dry slot moving in at least early this evening, 4 to 6 p.m. briefly, but still there could see some slick spots on the roadways after your evening commute. Then another round of snow pushes through following this system. This continues into the early morning hours on Wednesday. But that mixing line is right here, and as it pushes over central New York, we'll see that switch over to eventually sleet and then freezing rain, indicated by that pink right here. And that could cause some slick spots, especially on bridges and less traveled roads by early tomorrow morning. And so on our Skycast, we can see some lingering drizzle early this morning coming to an end. Sleety, wet snow taking place this afternoon over parts of the area, primarily again south of I-90. Then, after this evening and tonight, additional sleety, wet snow falling over the area, eventually turning over to sleet officially, then freezing rain. And again, this could cause some slick spots on less traveled roads, higher elevations, and of course bridges for the most part. Eventually switch over to all rain by tomorrow afternoon. But regarding snowfall, we're not expecting a whole lot with this system. This is not going to be a major impactful snow event, but enough to produce a coating to 2 inches of snow on the ground, maybe a little bit more in the higher elevations, maxing out at 4 inches tops in the northern Oneida County region. And so for today, high at 32, snow showers. Tonight, a low at 29, snow and a wintry mix. Your 7-day forecast. Remaining on the mild side, a January thaw continues this week with temperatures remaining in the upper 30s, low 40s throughout the rest of the week into the weekend.
January 23rd, 2024.
Now, you're watching News Channel 2 at sunrise with Gary Liberator.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Liberator, and we start this morning with a not so bad morning, but things may get a little dicey later today. Meteorologist Eric Gage joining us now from the Weather Center. And what are we talking?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. One of our sky watchers, Stuart in Cooperstown, called and he said, feels like spring out. Because it's, every morning we've had the past week or so, it's been single digits,
right.
Teens, very cold wind chills. This morning, it's near 32 degrees, so it's a more mild start to the day. Now, there are reports coming in of patchy freezing drizzle. We were talking about that drizzle this morning. In some spots, it is freezing on the ground. So I want to mention that fairly quickly. Let's take a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. Can't see much in the broader picture, but zooming in, we can see a very faint signature of drizzle coming off of Lake Ontario. And some of this is freezing on surfaces, so watch out for some icy spots on your driveways and whatnot. But the main roads, of course, are treated, so once you get onto, for example, the Arterial or Route 8 in the lower elevations in even I-90, things should be okay. And in fact, a live look at Oriskany in downtown Utica, we can see the road there is looking wet, but relatively okay. Currently 31 at Griffithson Rome, so just below freezing in the Mohawk Valley. And our weather alerts for this morning are for a winter weather advisory, and that's for this afternoon and for this evening, for the potential of some slick spots due to not only sleety wet snow, but also for the potential of a sleet freezing rain mix by tomorrow morning. And so for today, highs in the low 30s. We're going to start to see some of that wet sleety snow this afternoon. We're going to switch over to freezing rain by tomorrow morning. Of course, we're going to time it all out and let you know the exact impacts coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Eric, thanks. We are staying on the story of the two.
Good morning and welcome back. It's time to showcase our weather photo of the day this morning. And this one is a beautiful shot of Verona Beach on Oneida Lake. And it's showcasing the icy shoreline as the lake has been seeing a lack of ice due to the mild start to this winter. However, the cold conditions we saw over the past week have cooled things down enough to showcase some ice forming on the shoreline. If you want to submit your weather photo here to News Channel 2 and be showcased here at News Channel 2 at sunrise, send it to WKTV.com/weather/pics. Those temperatures this morning are still more mild than what we've seen over the past week, starting out in the low 30s, 32 Westmoreland, 33 Little Falls, 31 degrees down in Cooperstown. And as we are heading into this afternoon and into tomorrow, there's potential for a wintry mix. So I want to briefly mention the different wintry mix types and how they form. And as you can see here, when we have freezing rain, it's warm air all the way down almost to the surface, and you got a pocket of very cold air right near the ground. With sleet, you got a larger area of cold air that lets the raindrops freeze before hitting the ground. Think of it as sprinkles on a donut versus glaze on a donut. Glaze is freezing rain, sprinkles are sleet. Gary?
Wow, well said right there.
I'll give credit to Bill. He came up with that.
Eric, thanks. Many local students are going to have a
Now, you're watching News Channel 2 at 7 a.m. on CW11 with Gary Liberator.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us here on the CW11. I'm Gary Liberator, and get ready for a mixed bag later today in some parts. Meteorologist Eric Gage tracking this latest system for us in the Weather Center. And when are we talking?
It's going to be more in the afternoon when it continues to arrive. We got some drizzle this morning. Some of it is freezing in some spots, but this is not the main thing we're tracking. But this morning, it's about on the mild side. It's in the 30s. We haven't really seen days starting out in the 30s, at least for the past week or so. But yeah, let's take a quick look at the radar right now because I want to talk about when this system continues to arrive. And so as we take a look at the radar, things are quiet for the most part. We're seeing some drizzle that looks to be coming to an end. We have got very faint signatures coming off of Lake Ontario producing that drizzle. But zooming out a little bit, we can see that this system is continuing to approach from the southwest, starting out in the southern valleys, then working its way north a little bit. But as you can see, that sleet line is to the north, and this snow will be sleety in nature, starting out in the late morning in the southern valleys, early afternoon, heading up into the Mohawk Valley, and then eventually over to all sleety wet snow for all of us this afternoon and this evening. Downtown Utica, things are looking quiet for the most part. Wet roads, lingering drizzle, temperatures in the low 30s, and we do have again those winter weather advisories in effect for pretty much all of central New York for the potential for some slick spots from this snow, and then finally by tomorrow with the potential for some freezing rain. For today, again, temperatures remaining in the low 30s. We're talking a bit more about the impacts, where we're going to see that freezing rain and when it continues to arrive in detail coming up. Back to you, Gary.
Eric, thanks. The first voters have spoken in New Hampshire.
From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning and welcome back. We're tracking the end of some light drizzle this morning from lake effect, and we're looking at our next weather system arriving later this morning into early parts of this afternoon. Here's a live look at downtown Utica from our Nexus camera. We're looking at wet roads this morning. There is some freezing drizzle in higher elevations, but again, the main roads are looking wet, but okay. A live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. Here in central New York, things are quiet, but we can see this system quickly approaching this sleet line, all that purple, sleety type snow, and as you head up a little bit to the north, turning over to snow showers. So we're riding a fine line today regarding precipitation type as things switch over to sleet and eventually freezing rain by early tomorrow morning. Skywatchers checking in right around freezing. 32 New Hartford, 32 Westdale up north, a little cooler. 26 Old Forest, 25 degrees inlet in the southern valleys. 20s and 30s, 29 Hartwick, 31 Lawrence and Skenevis, 30 in Milford, 32 degrees in Cooperstown. And throughout the day, not warming up by much, remaining in the low 30s, so we'll be hovering right around that mark. And as this system approaches, that determines what type of snow, sleet, what we see as we head into this morning, this afternoon. So again, today, this snow starts to develop primarily in the southern valleys this morning, shifting more north as we approach the early afternoon. This snow will fall as sleety, wet. It's going to be that clumpy, wet snow that we see when we have temperatures hovering in the low 30s. A bit of a break in the snow, at least briefly, by the early evening before snow returns once more, and then following this mixing line, eventually, we're going to be seeing a sleet and freezing rain mix by early tomorrow morning. And so closely on our Skycast, we can see the arrival of this system. It's actually arriving a little bit earlier than the models are showing. But as you can see here, the snow starts to fall. Maybe as light drizzle in the Mohawk Valley first before over to snow showers. Then a widespread snow tonight. Then over to sleet and freezing rain by early Wednesday morning. They could cause some slick spots, primarily on bridges and less traveled roads. But lastly, a look at our snowfall forecast. Not a big event, trace 2 inches expected for most of the area, 1 to 3 inches as you head to the north. And for today, high 32 degrees, snow showers tonight, snow and wintry mix, a low of 29. Your 7-day forecast remaining relatively mild. January thaw for the rest of the week.
News with Katrina Smith.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on this Tuesday afternoon. I'm Katrina Smith. Gary has the day off. Well, we have some sleety, wet snow moving into the region. It is already falling in the southern part of our viewing area, and it will make its way north. Meteorologist Eric Gage is tracking when and where this hits your area. Let's head over to the Weather Center.
Yeah, that's right. The snow is slowly moving north. As a matter of fact, within the past few minutes, it's starting to fall in locations, for example, here in downtown Utica. Let's take a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. The snow is starting to fill in areas north. It has been falling in Oneonta in parts of Otsego County for the past hour or so. But as we can see, zooming in right here, snow showers starting to spread into portions of central New York. We see it falling right here in downtown Utica right now. This snow will be either very fine, icy type snowflakes or thick, heavy, wet snowflakes. We're in that zone of temperatures that support these types of conditions, which could mean that some spots could be a little slippery for your evening commute. And of course, looking at those temperatures, we are hovering right around freezing in the Mohawk Valley, 32 degrees in Whitesboro, a little warmer out in Westmoreland, and 35 up in Westernville, 30 degrees below zero or below freezing up in Otter Lake. In the southern valleys, 30 Oneonta, 29 Skenevis, 31 Cooperstown, above freezing, 33 in Sherburne. And because of this potential for some slick spots on the roadways this evening, as well as tomorrow with the potential for some freezing rain, we do have winter weather advisories in effect. This is not a winter storm warning, this is not a winter storm watch, but it's enough to cause a potential for some slick spots in some parts of the area. And again, today, some snow showers moving into portions of central New York, returning again tonight. And then following early tomorrow morning, that snow switches over to sleet, then freezing rain before finally we'll see some rain showers by tomorrow afternoon. We're going to time it all out in that full forecast coming up. Back to you, Katrina.
Thank you so much, Eric. And we're following.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon and welcome back. As you just saw on the CAVI Tower camera, looks like some of those droplets moving down the camera are freezing. That's indicating that those temperatures are starting to cool, especially in the Utica area. Taking a live look at downtown Utica right now, the snow is starting to fall. You can see it falling more of as this sleety, icy, clumpy, wet snow that we get when those temperatures hover right around 32 degrees. And we're seeing a similar story here in downtown Cooperstown as well. Snow is falling, and it's falling either as those thin, granular type snowflakes or, of course, those clumpy, wet snowflakes mixing in as well. Regardless of the type of snow, because these temperatures are still right around 32 degrees, there is a potential for some slick spots to develop, especially on untreated surfaces and less traveled roads. As we take a look here on the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar, places like downtown Utica will start out with pretty okay conditions driving. However, in some spots, especially in the southern valleys, those hilltop locations, untreated surfaces could get a little bit slick this evening. And so if you do have to travel home from work, budget an extra few minutes or so to travel slowly on the roads. A lot of these incidents that happen with events like this can easily be solved if people slow down, especially on bridges. Those tend to ice over quickly, but the concern for ice over bridges will be mainly in effect for tomorrow. What we're showing right now is what's called the correlation coefficient. Basically, the radar beam sending a signal out in the atmosphere and it's detecting whether these it's going to be either snow or sleet. It's basically the whole reason we're showing this because we can see the sleet line right here. It's pushing into parts of Oneonta and areas south, but north of that, it's remaining mostly, if not entirely, that snow sleety type. But areas south, as you can see here, freezing rain is still taking place south of the New York-Pennsylvania border. And so for this afternoon, those temperatures will slowly continue to fall into the late evening hours, and we're still looking at least a bit of a dry period briefly heading into the early evening hours. Hopefully that should be enough to keep roads relatively clear for the evening commute before another round of snow arrives heading into overnight hours tonight. The mixing line pushes back north by the early morning hours Wednesday, and that could cause, as you can see right here, freezing rain, especially in portions of Otsego and Herkimer counties in those higher elevations. And timing it out on our Skycast, you can see more closely where that band continues to set up. The pink here indicates potential for freezing rain. But regarding snowfall, This isn't expected to be a huge event. As you can see here, it traced 2 inches. It'll be hard for that snow to stick into a lot of areas, but if it does start to stick, the snow could be slick in nature. And for today, again, a high of 32, snow showers tonight. Snow and wintry mix, a low of 29 degrees. Your 7-day forecast after tomorrow morning, any travel impacts should be all but done. By tomorrow afternoon, things switch over to more rain showers. Temperatures climb into the upper 30s, low 40s, and you remain above freezing pretty much until the weekend. We're entering a very mild stretch of weather. Katrina?
Thank you, Eric. And we did get a call for one. Welcome back. To start this half hour, we're going to send it back over to meteorologist Eric Gage because you have some weather moving into the region right now. Eric.
Yeah, that's right. We're tracking some snow showers moving into central New York, and we're not expecting a whole lot in terms of accumulation, but with the consistency of this snow, it's going to be sleety, it's going to be wet, and it could clump to some spots and, of course, produce some slick situations. A live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. We can see that the snow is starting to fill in from the west, primarily along the Route 20 corridor just north of Cooperstown. We're seeing that the highest snowfall rates taking place right now. And in downtown Utica, here is the view right now. The flakes are falling. They are a mixture between the fine sand-like wet snowflakes and, of course, the typical wet, clumpy snowflakes falling right now. And as we can take a look at those local temperatures, they're still hovering right around freezing in Whitesboro, a little bit above freezing in Westmoreland, and above freezing down in Little Falls at 35 degrees. And in the southern valleys, those current temperatures are hovering right below freezing. Because of that, we have winter weather advisories in effect for not only this evening, as there could be some slick spots, especially on roads less traveled, but on top of that, tomorrow morning, we have the potential for seeing some freezing rain as that mixing line moves back up north again. We're going to time it all out and talk about the impacts in that full forecast coming up. Back to you, Katrina.
Thank you, Eric. A man and a woman from the town of Lee.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon and welcome back. The KV Tower Camera, if you've been watching it since the start of the hour, you can see that icicle has gotten a little bit larger as this wintry mix starts to move into central New York, starting out as snow, but as we can see here, conditions are starting to freeze over in some spots. A live look at downtown Utica from our Nexus camera. We can see that those wet snowflakes falling in the air. And again, we're not expecting a lot of snow from this system, but this type of snow can cause slick spots, especially if it turns more sleety and can start to freeze on some surfaces as well. A live look in Cooperstown right now, a similar story. The snow falling looks to be of that wet consistency, and of course it can cause slick spots, especially on untreated surfaces. Currently 31 degrees, barely below freezing down in Cooperstown. And a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 live radar. Most of the area is starting to see that snow mixing in. The highest snowfall rates are currently just along Route 20 south of the Mohawk Valley. We're seeing a bit of a dry slot move in right here in the valley itself. But still, we're going to be seeing some of these snow showers throughout the remainder of the early afternoon, with the possibility of a lull in the snow approaching the early evening. Something we're tracking too, what is called the correlation coefficient, where we can kind of identify where the mixing line is. And as we can see here, we got mixing taking place just north of Oneonta. This is due to the snow falling, melting, and then refreezing. And then refreezing is more of a sleety type of snow, but the actual mixing line where things are falling primarily as sleet, you can see just south of the border right there in Pennsylvania. That's what those brighter colors indicate more of that mixing. And regardless, you can see right here in the bigger picture, more snow moving into the area. And again, we were right on that thin line between a mixture of sleet and, of course, wet snow. Temperatures remain in the low 30s for this afternoon. We are again hovering right around that freezing mark, and timing it out at least what to expect in the bigger picture for this evening. We can see a low in the snow briefly by the early evening. Hopefully this causes some of those roadways to remain a little bit on the less slick side. But following that, we're going to see another round of some snow showers overnight tonight before eventually mixing back over to sleet and freezing rain as that mixing line moves in back to the north. And showing it in more detail closer up, we can see that similar trend. We got a brief dry slot this evening, a return to some more wet snow overnight tonight, and then by tomorrow morning there could be some slick spots primarily on bridges. Those tend to freeze over sooner than other spots. So again, that will be the primary zone where that could impact, as well as, of course, less traveled roads. And again, regarding snowfall, not expecting a whole lot from the system. Trace to 2 inches expected over a lot of the area, a little bit higher in those higher elevations as you head to the north. And for today, again, a high of 32 degrees. Snow showers tonight. Snow turns over to a wintry mix, a low of 29. Your 7-day forecast. After tomorrow morning, that looks like the end of the impact of this event. Things switch over to rain showers and remain on the warmer side. If you look at those overnight lows, we're not falling below freezing, at least until possibility of next Saturday night. So we are entering a January thaw, and all the impacts of this system should be gone by Wednesday afternoon. Katrina?
Thank you, Eric. And once we get through this season...
News Channel 2, live at 5 News Hour with Kristen Copeland and Jason Palace.
We are under a winter weather advisory, but there's a very fine line between getting snow and a slushy mix tonight.
That's right. Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis is tracking from the Weather Center tonight. Bill, good evening. What are you looking at?
Temperatures are right around freezing, so it's going to be pretty close. I think a lot of this falls as snow, but it's that thicker type of snow, so even if you don't get a lot of it, it can make things a little bit slippery. Because we're also right around freezing, this snow is melting on a lot of the roadways in the lower elevation. So travel is not seeing any as high of an impact in the lower spots. But again, where it is accumulating, it is slippery in the higher elevations. So we'll have a look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Widespread snow that will continue this evening, and that winter weather advisory has been expanded to all of central New York, again with the possibility of some light icing tonight. Current temperature 33 degrees, light snow being reported at Griffiths. Again, that snow mixes with some ice and rain overnight, and that could make things extra slippery heading into Wednesday morning. But temperatures are expected to climb above freezing as we head throughout Wednesday, and any issues on the roadways will go away. And we're expecting warmer weather ahead with rain chances as we head throughout the rest of the week. This evening, snow, temperatures around freezing. Again, tracking that wintry mix tonight. And we're going to take a look at what the morning commute looks like for tomorrow, and that's coming up. Kristen, back to you.
All right, Bill, thank you.
It is voting.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Snow continues to move into central New York. It's generally light, and in the lower elevations, the snow is melting on treated surfaces. Let's take a live look outside. Multiple different web cameras here. A lot of these come from 511newyork.org, and you can see that traffic is moving pretty fine here with, again, most roads wet. The exception would be the higher elevations, which are a few degrees colder. In the upper 20s to low 30s, the snow is sticking to the roads in those areas. But again, traveling, for the most part, not terrible across the area. The lower elevations, the roads are wet. Again, the higher spots could be a little bit slippery here, and that will be the case throughout tonight. This is a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Most of this precipitation has fallen as snow, but there is a push of some warmer weather aloft. It's been a very subtle push. But as we head into tonight, we should see some of this snow turn over to sleet and freezing rain, especially south of the Mohawk Valley, which could prolong some slippery spots overnight. And again, this has an impact on travel overnight. This snow, sleet, freezing rain mix for the southern valleys. Temperatures will climb above freezing throughout the day tomorrow. So we're dry in the morning, and then just some rain showers in the afternoon and evening. The driving conditions should be pretty decent throughout the day tomorrow, aside from a few slippery spots very early in the day, especially south. Once we climb above freezing tomorrow, it looks like we're going to stay above freezing throughout the rest of the week and into the weekend. The overnight lows drop into the 30s. In fact, maybe even not below 40 heading into Wednesday night and Thursday. So very mild weather is going to stick around. It's going to melt a lot of the snow that's on the ground. Temperatures this evening right around freezing. Whitesboro 32, Dolgeville 32, Little Falls 34, 29 in Inlet. Hamilton 32, Oneonta 30, and Skidivas with 29. Again, some of those higher elevations south, slippery roads expected this evening. So you look at the bigger picture, we've got a stationary front in place, which is going to keep the snow around tonight. Overnight, again, widespread steady snowfall. This does mix in from time to time with sleet south of the Mohawk Valley. Precipitation comes to an end tomorrow morning. Temperatures start out in the upper 20s to low 30s. A generally quiet day tomorrow. A round of rain is expected late in the day as temperatures continue to warm up. We'll be in the upper 30s here by Wednesday evening. Rain showers continue Wednesday night. And again, mild weather here for Thursday with a few scattered showers and patchy drizzle. Again, not looking at much rainfall accumulation here over the next couple of days. We're also keeping an eye on Sunday. We could be in store for a rain-snow mix beginning Sunday afternoon and continuing into Sunday evening. Snow and a wintry mix tonight, low of 29. Tomorrow, cloudy with a few rain showers, a high temperature of 40. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Mild weather continues throughout the week. Some rain chances here Thursday, Friday. Cloudy skies Saturday, and then a rain-snow mix here for Sunday. Temperatures do cool off as we look ahead to Monday and Tuesday. But a lot of this snow that we're going to be getting is going to be melting over the next few days.
Okay. Thanks, Bill. Watch your step. This winter, more people are ending up in the emergency room after falling outside.
Mandy Gaither has more on how to avoid getting hurt in winter weather.
The icy sidewalks, the snow-filled driveways. The weather this time of year can take a toll on your body.
When you're clearing off snow, your lower back takes a lot of that pressure.
Emergency and sports medicine Dr. Mark Conroy with the Ohio State's Wexner Medical Center says to prepare your body before you clear off what winter brings.
The number one thing I recommend to people is they have to warm up. You know, you go out and it's 30 degrees or less outside. Your body's not accustomed to that temperature. Often it can be a big shock.
Conroy says to stretch and loosen up the body before going out. If you're shoveling snow, he says to push it, don't lift it. That can strain your back. Give your body a break. Don't try to do it all at once. Make sure you have the proper equipment. Conroy says a shovel with a bend in the handle can take some pressure off your lower back. Vary your movement so your body doesn't do the same thing over and over, and make sure your body is in the right position.
Feet should be about shoulder width apart. You should be bending at the knees as opposed to bending at your back, trying to keep your back straight.
And be extra vigilant where you're walking outside. Watch for ice and slippery patches. Falls can happen easily and wreak havoc on your body.
There's a lot of musculoskeletal injuries involved with falling, such as sprains, contusions, and fractures.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Coming up, we are following breaking news in connection to the death of
Over to Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
So we hit a milestone today. Not only did our sunset happen after 5 o'clock for the first time since November 4th, but we look at the globe and we head to Alaska. Utqiagvik in Alaska, also known formerly as Barrow, Alaska, is the very northern part of Alaska. Well, they're seeing their first sunrise of the year. They haven't seen the sun since November 19th, and this is a live look at the camera. And, well, we're not going to be able to see the sun here because this is pointed towards the north. But if you look really closely, you might be able to spot the almost full moon. But yeah, we did hit a milestone today, and again, we are seeing brighter skies. Even if it's cloudy, we are slowly heading towards spring. Some snow to deal with tonight. Looking ahead, we've got some very mild temperatures around. Our average high throughout the week will be in the 40s. In fact, we'll be as warm as the mid-40s by Thursday and Friday. So a lot of that snow that's on the ground will be melting, and I don't think we'll see much of it left in the Mohawk Valley. We'll continue to see snow this evening, though. Just be aware that side roads, higher elevations could be a little bit slippery if you are heading out. If you are taking the dog out for a walk this evening, again, just keep in mind some slippery roads and sidewalks. Temperatures will be in the low 30s. Tonight's dog, Nico from Ilion. This is brought to you by Nye Automotive Group. We're tracking, again, those warmer temperatures ahead. I'll look at the forecasts coming up. Kristen, back to you.
The race for Oscar.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We continue to track widespread, steady, generally light snow falling across central New York. Road conditions are not too bad for now, but we're keeping an eye on this because as the snow becomes steadier, as we head past sunset, there could be some slippery spots out there. The major roads should be okay in the lower elevations, but it's the side roads and the higher elevations that could create some slippery spots. And we are starting to see a little bit of that showing up on our traffic tracker. This is keeping track of how traffic is moving across central New York. We're looking for slowdowns in yellow, oranges, and reds. And we can see a few spots out near West Winfield along Route 20, again, just symbolizing some slower traffic along higher elevations. And again, we're going to continue to keep an eye on that tonight as a light wintry mix arrives. This is a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. And again, the steady snow is continuing to move in from the south as low pressure moves in from the west. You can see that change over to rain as you head south and west of Buffalo. That's a sign of some warmer air working in. Roads will be slippery tonight in spots, but conditions will be better tomorrow as temperatures climb above freezing. And we will stay above freezing for the next several days, even at night. High temperatures climb into the mid-40s. Overnight lows will be well above freezing here as we head into the last week of January. Sky watchers, Whitesboro 33 degrees, Forestport 30, Old Forge 29, Fairfield 31. Across Southern Valleys, Worcester 33, Edmonston 32, and West Lawrence with 32 degrees. Again, an area of low pressure continues to move in from the west, again, bringing some warmer weather with it. We will see a coating of snow tonight, and again, be aware of a few slippery spots this evening through early tonight. Snow mixes in with some sleet and freezing rain south of the Mohawk Valley late this evening and into very early tomorrow morning. But by Wednesday morning at 7 a.m., have a look. Most areas are looking dry. Temperatures climb above freezing, and our next chance of precipitation looks to be rain as we head into Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. Rain continues tomorrow night, and more rain showers continue on Thursday. We're watching Sunday night. Next area of low pressure could give us a rain-snow mix, and depending on where that tracks, we could see some accumulating snow with that Sunday night into Monday. Snow and a wintry mix tonight, low of 29. Tomorrow, cloudy skies, rain showers, temperatures near 40, and again, a significant thaw with melting snow over the next several days. Temperatures in the 40s Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, even into Saturday. We might not fall below freezing until Sunday night, just based on how this plays out, which is incredible for this time of the year. Again, the possibility of some snow Sunday night into Monday, colder weather, but pretty close to average temperatures here with some sunshine Monday and Tuesday. We'll be right back.
Watching News Channel 2 at 6 with Kristen Copeland and Jason Palace.
We'll get to those stories in a moment. First, though, the current wintry mix of rain and snow expected to last throughout the night.
Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis is tracking from the Weather Center what we can expect. Bill, good evening.
Good evening, Jason and Kristen. Widespread snow, steady enough to make things slippery, especially in higher elevations. We are continuing to track steady snow on the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Temperatures have been near or above freezing in the lower elevations, so the snow's been melting on roadways. But now that we're past sunset, the snow may have an easier time sticking to roads, so just be careful heading out this evening, even if the conditions haven't been too bad in your area. Again, that could easily change as we head into tonight. Winter weather advisories have been expanded for the possibility of some sleet and freezing rain mixing in overnight. Our current temperature is 32 degrees. Again, light, steady snow falling across the area. We're going to continue to track mainly snow tonight, but some of this mixes in with sleet and freezing rain, especially south of the Mohawk Valley for a brief period of time, and that can make things slippery overnight and into very early Wednesday morning. Temperatures are expected to climb Wednesday, and that means road conditions improve, and that also sets the stage for an extended January thaw with significantly warmer temperatures ahead, along with rain chances. This evening's snow, again, watch out for a few slippery spots. Temperatures in the upper 20s to low 30s. We are tracking that warmer weather ahead. A look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
2 small children, ages 2 and 5, suffered.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We're continuing to watch and monitor road conditions across Central New York. This is a look at different web cameras from 511newyork.org. And I want you to watch the one on the bottom right-hand side. This is the intersection of Route 8 and 20 in Bridgewater, and this is a higher elevation. Notice how different it looks here. There's snow covered on the roadways as opposed to the arterial, where it's just generally wet. So this is very much elevation driven. The snow sticking to higher elevations for now. As temperatures continue to cool off tonight, I think the snow is going to have an easier time sticking to lower elevations. We're not expecting a lot of accumulation here, but it's enough to make things slippery. And as it mixes in with some sleet and freezing rain, especially south of the Mohawk Valley, that could lead to some tricky travel. This is a look at our traffic tracker. This monitors traveling conditions, and it signifies when traffic is slowing down based on color. So we're looking at yellows and reds on this map for any significant slowdowns. And you can see the overall picture here is not any major slowdowns, but again, higher elevations, look out for some slippery spots. Steady snow continues. This is a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Precipitation approaches from the west, and you can see a changeover from snow to rain heading into extreme western New York as some warmer weather is moving in. Slippery conditions tonight, but by tomorrow, temperatures climb above freezing. So the morning commute could feature a few slippery spots, but things look to dry out and warm up as we look ahead. Temperatures climb into the 40s throughout most of the week. The overnight lows stay above freezing for most areas, which means there's going to be a lot of melting snow across central New York for the next several days. Sky watchers, Eaton 32 degrees, that's Lyman checking in, Clinton 33, Newport 33, as well as Mohawk, Worcester 33 degrees, Paynes Hollow with 29. Again, low pressure moving in from the west tonight will continue to bring us some light snow. We're keeping an eye on the southern valleys for the possibility of sleet and freezing rain mixing in, especially after midnight. Temperatures start out in the upper 20s to low 30s Wednesday morning. It's a dry start to the day. Another round of precipitation arrives late Wednesday. This time, rain. Temperatures will be above freezing across all of central New York. Rain showers Wednesday night and into Thursday. Keep an eye on Sunday. Long-range computer models suggest a coastal storm that could bring us a rain-snow mix here late Sunday. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Snow and a wintry mix tonight, low of 29. Cloudy skies tomorrow, rain showers a high of 40. Again, a significant thaw ahead with temperatures in the 40s throughout the week. A few spotty showers Thursday, a steadier rain Friday. Dry Saturday, rain-snow mix possible on Sunday. And then temperatures cooling down as we head into Monday and Tuesday.
Bill, thank you.
Still to come on News Channel 2 at 6, find out who will be in the forecast. We bring in Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis, and tonight, a little bit of precipitation out there. Got to be careful on the roads, right?
Yeah, the roads are slippery for sure, especially even in the lower elevations. Temperatures falling below freezing tonight. The back edge of the snow is working in from the west, so this is going to be coming to an end. We look to the west, we see changes in color here. That indicates warmer air is on the way. And a little bit of a wintry mix is still possible tonight. Temperature-wise, again, slowly climbing above freezing. And so the reason why we're seeing this wintry mix, and it's not just rain or just snow, has to do with warm air aloft. We're looking at that combination of sleet and freezing rain moving in because the air aloft is causing snow to melt. And as it's colder towards the surface, it causes the rain to turn over to ice. And again, if it freezes before it hits the ground, it's sleet. If it freezes on the ground, it's freezing rain. And again, both of those are possible tonight south of the Mohawk Valley. Current temperature is 32 degrees at Griffiths and Rome. Light snow, and again, that wintry mix tonight. Low temperatures in the low 30s to upper 20s. Tracking some warmer weather ahead. Look at the forecasts coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. New tonight, could wind turbines.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We are taking a live look outside from 511newyork.org at various webcams looking at road conditions across the area this evening. You can see the general picture is that the snow is sticking to the roads, and it is a slippery drive if you are heading out tonight. Just Be aware, it's going to be a tough drive for the next couple of hours. It's not going to stay like this, though. By the morning commute, things are expected to get better, and here's why. The steady snow that we're seeing out there tonight is pushing to the east, and behind it, we've got some warmer air that's working in. In fact, we can see this transition from snow to rain. There's still some cold air at the surface here, so as some of this moves in from the west, it does look to fall as a combination of sleet and freezing rain, especially south of the Mohawk Valley. So traveling still going to be highly impacted from this overnight, but by the morning, a lot of this precipitation comes to an end, and temperatures are going to climb above freezing, so any issues on the roads will be coming to an end as any residual ice or snow will end up melting. And we are going to see a lot of melting snow over the next several days. Our temperatures are trending warmer. We'll climb into the mid-40s on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We could have a stretch of time where temperatures don't fall below freezing again until Sunday evening. That's incredible if that works out. We're supposed to be in the coldest time of the year. As we go into late January and early February, that's where we see the average high temperatures basically bottoming out. But again, this year, a little bit different. As we look at the radar and satellite image, we have a stationary front in place and low pressure, which is causing all this precipitation. And again, as a low lifts to the north, it's going to bring some of that warm air to the north too. And that's going to bring temperatures into the 40s later this week. Storm Tracker 2 Skycast tonight. Snow comes to an end. Again, watch out for a few icy spots, especially south of the Mohawk Valley. We'll start out dry Wednesday morning, cloudy skies. A few light rain showers develop in the afternoon. It becomes more of a steadier rain in the evening as temperatures continue to climb. We'll be above freezing tomorrow night. And then Thursday, we stay above freezing, cloudy skies, a few scattered showers, temperatures in the low 40s. We might see some snow on Sunday. Our early forecast here, we have some signals that there'll be an area of low pressure along the coast. The big question mark is how much cold air is going to be in place for this, because this might end up starting out as rain. So again, very early on, but just wanted to give you the heads up. Snow, a wintry mix tonight, low of 29. Tomorrow, cloudy skies, rain showers, 40 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Rain showers Thursday, steadier rain Friday, 45. Cloudy skies Saturday. We may finally fall below freezing Sunday with a chance of rain and snow. Some colder weather here as we head into Monday and Tuesday.
So say goodbye to the snow for now.
Yes, lots of melting.
Alrighty, thanks, Bill. Coming up next, veteran CBS newsman and telemeteorologist Bill Cardis tracking snow out there. If you got to go out right now for anything, just take it easy, but it's going to all turn over to rain eventually, isn't it?
Yes, we're looking at a push of warm air working in from the west. The really steady snow that's been happening this evening is starting to move to the east, so we are starting to see some changes in the weather tonight. And that warm weather is going to continue to work in as we head into tonight along with tomorrow. We're looking at a wintry mix still overnight. That's because we've got warm air moving in aloft, but it's still cold at the surface. We get this combination of warm and cold air that creates sleet and freezing rain. It's sleet if rain freezes before it hits the ground, and freezing rain if it freezes on the ground. Again, that's still possible tonight, especially south of the Mohawk Valley. Our current temperature is 32 degrees at Griffiths and Rome. Again, some light snow still being reported, and we'll see some light snow in a wintry mix tonight. Eventually, temperatures will climb above freezing as we head into tomorrow with some rain and mild temperatures on the way. We'll look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. New tonight, could new wind turbines.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Good evening. Road conditions are slippery at this hour as we take a look at webcams from 511newyork.org. If you're heading out tonight, again, just take it slow. A lot of this is going to melt. Temperatures are expecting to climb above freezing as we head throughout tonight. But before that happens, there's a likelihood that we're going to see a wintry mix tonight, especially south of the Mohawk Valley. It's a live look at the airfield battery, Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. We've been seeing some steady snow this evening and starting to get some breaks in the activity, but it's not done. We look into the west, we're seeing some of that warm air working in. Again, a mix taking place tonight could make for some slippery roads across the area. By tomorrow morning, conditions do improve. Temperatures are expected to be above freezing, and the next round of precipitation later in the day is likely to fall as rain. Temperatures will trend warmer beyond tomorrow. We'll continue to climb into the 40s on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and overnight lows will be likely above freezing. In fact, beginning tomorrow and lasting through potentially Sunday, temperatures could consistently and continuously stay above freezing. That's really unusual. This is typically the coldest time of the year, late January, early February. And to be able to do that, again, that's pretty incredible. So you look at the radar and satellite image, widespread light snow continues. Again, we're seeing that wintry mix working in from the west as warm air budges in from the south. Again, snow does come to an end tonight. Overnight lows will remain in the upper 20s to low 30s. We're dry first thing tomorrow morning, so your morning commute should be okay. Again, do watch out for a few slippery spots from what happens overnight. But as temperatures climb above freezing, any ice issues will be melting, and we're expecting rain showers to return late in the day. Steady rain Wednesday night into early Thursday. Temperatures remain above freezing Thursday afternoon, cloudy skies with a few scattered showers. Looking ahead, Sunday, an area of low pressure is expected to develop. We're watching a few of our computer models, kind of get an idea how this could play out. And right now, the idea is that rain turns over to snow as we head into Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening. We could see some accumulation. It's far out, but it is something we'll be watching here throughout the week, and we'll continue to keep you updated. Snow, a wintry mix tonight, low of 29. Tomorrow, cloudy, rain showers, temperatures near 40. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Rain showers Thursday, steadier rain Friday, 45. Still pretty mild over the weekend. Again, rain and snow showers expected on Sunday. Cooler weather, but by cooler, back to normal. Highs in the upper 20s.
Don't you dare think this is going to last, mister.
Yeah.
It's winter.
I know.
It'll all come back. All right, thanks, Bill. Coming up next, veteran CBS